All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inside the Cage. I'm your host, Eddie Mafia. We're back, guys. It's been a while. A few-week hiatus here. It's been a very busy few weeks. A lot has transpired both within the UFC and elsewhere, and it's been a lot of stuff going on. And I've had the opportunity to experience some things too, which have been really cool in the past couple of weeks, which I'm going to get into right now. So today we're actually talking about the Triple G Gennady Golovkin versus Sergiy Derevyanchenko boxing fight took place Saturday, October 5th at the famous Madison Square Garden in New York City. Really cool. I was actually able to go there. It was my first professional fight ever. I've never been to a professional fight before. So me and my coach, shout out to Eric Fama, and his dad, shout out to Al Fama. Great guys. We went Saturday the 5th, and it was awesome. Just like being there in the arena and the whole just atmosphere of the crowd and, the lights and the ring. It's a really cool vibe, really cool setup, especially when you get towards those big pay-per-view style fights, those bigger names, more excitement, more action, things like that. There was a total of 9 fights on the card, so it was worthwhile 100%. And the amount of fights you see what I mean by that. But no, it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience. I'm so glad I was able to go. Definitely want to go to more in the future. And it was definitely an interesting one for a first pro fight to be at. Interesting though, I mentioned the 9-fight card, and all of these fights, literally none of them went past the 4th round. I think that was the longest, one of the fights that lasted the longest. It was stopped in the 4th round. They were just all early KOs, first round, second round KO. Interesting, really kind of bizarre. We were saying, I don't know if this is it might have set a record for the least amount of rounds boxed on a card, essentially, because there was literally the only fight to go the distance was the main event, interestingly enough. But so that was just kind of an interesting thing. These guys, a lot of them matched up on paper. If I'm taking a look right now, I don't have my laptop right now, the Wi-Fi's bugging out in the studio. But you look at some of these records with some of these guys, 15-0, 20-7, 10-0, 14-2, 20-0, 27-4, and a lot of these guys are getting knocked out in the first round. So you see a lot of them, they allegedly have experience. Allegedly they're facing opponents that are somehow supposed to be testing them, but I guess not. Maybe I don't know. It was just very interesting to see how they get placed up against, bums to get their record up, and then they get a guy who's a decent fighter, and then they get knocked out 2 minutes in. But it was still really cool. It was just cool to see some live action boxing. And then so the main event being Triple G versus Sergiy Derevyanchenko. I'm sorry, these names are really hard to pronounce. All these guys are from Russia and Triple G's from Kazakhstan. So anyway, Triple G coming in was 41-1, 33 knockouts. Derevyanchenko 13-2 with 10 knockouts. So obviously Triple G was the favorite on paper, Vegas odds, and also even for the home crowd. The Garden, come main event time, it was packed out with got people with Kazakhstan flags and jerseys, chanting his name. His walkout was a huge ordeal. But no, so he was basically the hometown guy, even though Sergey is from Brooklyn. His opponent literally is from Brooklyn. Even though he was the native, he wasn't really the favorite in the fight. But very interesting. Triple G comes out strong. First round, knocks down Derevyanchenko pretty early on. Second round, cuts him. So a strong start to the fight overall for Triple G. But then getting into the later rounds, Sergey really turned it up. Kid hung in tough. He won, I would say, 8 out of the 12 rounds. We gave Triple G 4 of them, and then at the end of the fight, Sergey winning the majority of the rounds, but it was what we thought, because he really tuned him up. For a guy who's has a record of 41-1 and is this decorated fighter, holds all these titles, holds all these belts. Triple G did not look like himself. You can ask anyone who was there. All of the articles, all the reports are basically saying the same thing. So when it came down to the end of the fight, I thought it was going to go split decision, to Sergey. I thought he controlled the ring the majority of the time. He really put the pressure on. He didn't stop. He was relentless with his combinations. He was landing a lot. They were both really pretty banged up after the fight because of that cut that he had. But Triple G had a lot of swelling on his face too. He was looking pretty puffy. So he, it was a brawl. It was entertaining, but I do think this kid got robbed at the end of the day. If we look to the scorecards here, so 2 of the 3 judges scored it 115, 112. The other one scored it 114, 113 for Golovkin. ESPN, however, scored the fight 114, 113 for Derevyanchenko. However, he failed to come to come away with the win on Saturday. But I really do think this fight should have gone to Derevyanchenko. I think he was the one who really controlled most of the time, and he had a better performance overall at the end of the day. If you cannot, you could have never seen boxing a day in your life. You really could have just come in there, watched the fight, and been like, who do you think won? 99% of people probably would have said this guy Sergey. However, the judges thought otherwise, gave it to Triple G. I felt bad because my friends were asking me about, oh, who should I bet on, whatever. And I, in the beginning, I was like, oh, Triple G, going in. I was like, yeah, throw money on Triple G, whatever. And then as the fight goes on, I was like, dang, now I'm going to be a bad friend because he's going to lose and my friends are going to lose money. So that's what I was thinking the whole time. But towards the end, I don't know, comes the time for them to read the decision. Sure enough, it was Triple G. So, my friends won some cash, but at the same time, I don't think it was well deserved on the part of Triple G. But he had some respectful things to say about his opponent. Triple G was saying, he realized, the performance he put wasn't the best. He's 37, he's getting older. So he said, I want to say thank you so much to my opponent. This was a great job. I respect his team. I told you he's a very tough guy. This is a huge experience for me. Right now, I understand I need more focus on boxing. This was a tough fight. I just need a little bit more. Need to get stronger in my camp, more serious, work harder, a bit more focused. So that was something, a little takeaway from Golovkin. Anyway, there are some possibilities for the future for both of these guys, what fights are on deck. Canelo could potentially be next again for Triple G. That would be the 3rd fight. People would like to see that, but like I said, if I'm Canelo, I'm thinking this is easy money. Also, I would love to see them run it back. Again, Triple G and Derevyanchenko, give the kid a second shot. I think he's well deserving of it. And, with Canelo, Triple G said if his team's ready, let's do it. I would love to see a rematch though with Sergey, for that world title. This is for a vacant middleweight world title belt. Definitely an interesting one, controversial outcome. That's why you love the art of boxing, but the sport, up for debate. That's why people say we hate it because it's so political on paper, whatever, blah blah blah. But I guess it really does further the idea that you really do have to take it from the champ to beat the champ. In my opinion, seemed like that he did enough to win it. I would have given him the split decision because, Triple G has all these other titles, everything like that. I do think, however, he fell to Sergey. That's just my personal opinion. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode. A little bit quicker, but it was just I being there was just so awesome. And there's something, it really amps you up when you're in there and you hear Michael Buffer saying, let's get ready to rumble. It's just a really cool feeling, exciting thing. So I wanted to share that experience with you guys, talk about the fight a little bit, my thoughts on it. So that's it for today. Tune in next week for some more UFC talk. A lot of events in that area have transpired in the past few weeks, so we'll definitely be diving back into that. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in again. Appreciate the support as always. Eddie Mafia, Inside the Cage. See you next time.